Hello, and annyeonghaseyo everyone. In today's video, I'll be showing you guys how to make white fungus salad. A lot of you have requested me to show you how to make the salad, so I thought since spring is around the corner, this would be the perfect dish to enjoy and make for spring and summertime. And this salad is actually really easy to make. The only hard part is trying to figure out how to make the dressing. And when it comes to salad, the dressing is the most important part, especially for me. But I'll show you guys how I like to make this salad, and then after this you guys can give it a try and figure out what other ingredients you guys like to add into this salad, because especially if you're making this at home, you guys have the creativity and the freedom to add your favorite ingredients into the salad. Other than that, it's a very simple salad. Let's go ahead and I'll show you guys how to make it the perfect dish to make for spring and summer. Let's go ahead and I'll show you guys how it's done. Let's go. So to start this fungus salad, we want to go ahead and start soaking the snow fungus, or also known as the white fungus. And this is the box that I'm using today. Looking inside, this is what it looks like. It kind of looks like a sponge or a loofah, but it is actually a white fungus. It's pretty unique to China, has a pretty cool texture. This is what it looks like dried. And then I'll show you guys how it looks like after it's soaked. It's fairly small right now. Once it soaks, it plumps up and blooms really big. But you guys can find the white fungus at your local Asian grocery store. Any Chinese grocery stores will have it too, usually located in the dried area. So before we start, let's go ahead and soak these in water so that we can bloom it up. Okay, I'm gonna do the whole box, so let's go ahead and put it in a bowl to start hydrating it. Sometimes the fungus will come in bigger sizes, so you guys might have to adjust depending on how much you guys want to make. You could do more or less of the fungus. Just remember that they do bloom up fairly big once you add water to it. Okay, let's go ahead and add in some tap water. This is just lukewarm tap water, enough to soak over the top. All right, so let's go ahead and flip this over so that the top is facing down on the water, because they will float. Okay, so we're gonna let this sit for a good 30 minutes or until it's nice and plumped and bloomed. You guys will notice the difference within like 15 minutes of soaking. While this is soaking, let's go ahead and I'll show you guys how to make the dressing. So as long as you guys can make this dressing, then this salad is fairly easy. And this dressing is pretty versatile. You guys can use it on vermicelli noodles. You can also use it for bean thread noodles. It goes great with a lot of things. And you guys can adjust to your taste. So after making this, if you guys want it more sour, more spicy, more sweet, it's really up to you guys on what you guys like to add in there. Okay, so in the pot, I'm gonna add in some palm sugar, some crushed palm sugar, and some water. Go ahead and close this with a lid. Bring it up to medium heat just to melt the palm sugar. All right, it's been about 1 to 2 minutes. I turn off the heat and most of the sugar has dissolved and melted. So just make sure you break apart that. Okay, let's go ahead and add other ingredients in there. All right, so to the sugar water here, let's go ahead and add in some fish sauce. If you guys wanted to see the kinds of sauces I'm using, I'll post a picture on my blog for you guys to look at if you guys were interested. Fresh lime juice, some sweet chili sauce, I have some sambal here as well. Depending on how spicy you guys want it, you can add more. Some dried chili flakes here. If you guys want, you can use fresh chili, chop up fresh chili in here as well. I'm just using the dried one today. Some mushroom seasoning as well. And some tamarind concentrate here. And then the last thing we're going to be adding is some pickled garlic here. And it usually lives in a jar like this. with the pickling juice inside, and all you need to do is take one out, remove the tip, and cut it in half, and if you see any hard bits, just remove it, and then you'll chop it up super fine, and then this is what you get. So I added about 2 tablespoons of the pickling juice as well, just for that nice acidity. So we're gonna add this into the dressing as well. All right, let's go ahead and stir this up. Go ahead and taste it. If you guys want to add other ingredients to it, feel free to. At this point, I'm going to leave it like this. Once it's mixed in with the other ingredients, I can adjust and taste. But the dressing is pretty much done. You guys can store this in a airtight container or a jar, and it'll keep in the refrigerator for up to a week. You guys can use it for pretty much anything in terms of salad, like rice vermicelli noodles. You guys can do it over quite a lot of food things. I also want to note that in a lot of Hmong families, I know everyone has different recipes, but they do, I know some people love using or adding the last seasoning in the dressing, but I personally don't prefer using these just because it's a little bit too tart. It has this taste that I'm not really fond of, but you guys have the option to add just like a couple teaspoons in there if you guys want that kick. But again, it's really up to you guys. I personally don't prefer this in there, but again, you guys can definitely add it in there. But this is how I make the dressing. Other than that, let's go ahead and store this, keep it in the refrigerator while we go ahead and prep our vegetables and our herbs and our other ingredients that we're going to be adding into the salad. All right, so the mushrooms are nice and bloomed. You guys can tell how big they got, and they look like this. Isn't that cool? It's kind of like a sponge now. Like, look how much it bloomed compared to earlier. Pretty impressive. Okay, so I have some hot boiling water going. Let's go ahead and drop the mushrooms in to cook them. Go ahead and close this up, and we're gonna let this cook and boil for a good 3 to 5 minutes, just until it has fully heated through the mushroom. All right, it's been a good 5 minutes of this. Let's go ahead and turn off the heat. So these mushrooms, when you cook them, they will get kind of crunchy. Just make sure you don't cook it too long or else they'll get mushy. But let's go ahead and drain this and rinse them in cold water. Alright, so these are nice and rinsed and drained. You guys notice any like dirt in there or anything like that, just go ahead and rinse it off. These are fairly clean at this point. So how to take care of these, so after it's done cooking. So if you guys can see the bottom here, the yellow part here, we don't want that. So what you want to do is, what I like to do is I'll cut this in half, and with a knife I'm just going to trim off that yellow piece, because that piece here we don't want. So this yellow piece here, go ahead and throw that away. We don't want that. And this is what we want here. So you'll do that to all of the fungus here. Just trim off the yellow part. Alright, so all the mushroom bottom parts are all nice and trimmed. The yellow parts no longer existence. You can see a little bit of yellow there, but that's totally fine. As long as you get majority of that thicker yellow bottom part, you're all good to go. At this point, since we're at it, we can go ahead and cut these into, or break them apart into smaller bite-sized pieces. If you guys want it bigger, leave it bigger. I'm just going to use my hands to kind of just tear it apart into nice bite-sized pieces. Okay, so these are nice and broken apart. Let's go ahead and leave this here while it's draining. We can go ahead and prep our herbs and vegetables and other ingredients that you want to add into the fungus salad. Okay, so the dressing is done. It's cooling right now, and the white fungus is all cooked and draining right now, so that's done. At this point, you guys can go ahead and prep the other ingredients that you guys want to add into this salad. So in terms of salad, you guys have the option to add whatever you guys like, because salad, especially if you're making it at home, you have the option and the freedom to choose and pick your ingredients in there. So I'll show you guys what I like to use in this particular mushroom salad. So I have here is some shallots here that I cut up and sliced up. You guys can use red onions if you guys want to. I like shallots in this salad. I have some shredded carrots here as well. Some sliced up cherry tomatoes. And I have some, in Mong Lane, we call this kakao. It just means sour pork or sour meat. This is typically sold in a lot of Vietnamese grocery store. You guys can find this at the refrigerator section. It's usually in a package like this, and it'll have a label like this, and if you turn to the back, it'll have a pickled chili in the back stuck in there. All you gotta do is unwrap it and slice it up into bite-sized pieces like this. And this is pretty much just fermented sour pork with pork skin inside, and it has a really tangy, sour, yummy flavor to it. I also have some blanched shrimp here that I cooked up and just sliced in half. Just make sure you clean it up really well. And I also have some Vietnamese ham here. These are typically sold in a kind of like a green wrap like this. Just look at the label. If you guys are lucky to have a Vietnamese bakery, they also sell them fresh. Sometimes they also live in the freezer. You'll just have to thaw it out and then slice it into bite-sized pieces. I'm only using half of this, so I cut them into strips. You guys can cut it however you guys like. And for the herbs, I'm using some Chinese celery today. If you guys don't like celery, you don't have to use it. I just really like the flavor of it. And I have some mint and cilantro in here as well. Mint is pretty optional. You guys can add green onions if you guys prefer. I like mint and cilantro in this dish. And the last thing is some cucumbers, sliced cucumbers, and that's about it. So you guys can choose and pick whatever you guys like to add into the salad. I know a lot of people like to add red bell peppers in there, but my family don't really care for red bell peppers, so you guys have the option to choose and pick your own toppings and vegetables and meat. So just have fun with this salad. All right, so let's go ahead and add everything in and then mix it with the dressing, and we are pretty much done. So we're gonna add that in there. So for the dressing, depending on how much mushrooms you guys are cooking up and making, the ratio will be different. I'm only gonna add about a cup worth of the dressing and then taste it as you guys go. You can always add more as you go. Just be mindful that this salad in particular does get pretty wet the more it sits and the longer it sits. So if you guys will notice, as time goes by, there's gonna be a lot of liquid to the bottom, which is pretty normal for this salad. So if you guys want, you can make a big batch of the dressing, have it in the refrigerator, and whenever you want to make this particular salad, you can just mix whatever you guys want and cook up the mushrooms, and you're pretty much done. It's pretty simple. As long as you get the dressing down, you're pretty much good to go. Other than that, let's go ahead and mix this up, and then you guys can taste it and we'll be ready to serve. Oh my gosh. All right, I'm gonna add a little bit more dressing and we are pretty much good to go. Alright, so this is nice and mixed. I did taste it and the dressing is just to my liking. If you guys want this more sour, which a lot of you guys may prefer it a little bit more sour, definitely add a little bit more tamarind concentrate in there. You can also add a little bit more lime. It's up to you guys, but other than that, this is ready to serve. It's pretty simple and great for parties, great for when you guys just want to eat a little bit something lighter. But this is pretty much it. Yum! Yum.